Hey guys, came for 15, back out with another video for you guys, joined by my Uncle Darrell, and we're on another NFL week recap as well as week predictions. As we only have like three more weeks and then no, 4 more weeks and then we're done. I keep forgetting week 18. Um, and then the regular season is practically done. So far, I believe we have like three teams eliminated from playoff contention, which are obviously the Texans, Bears, and then um
Rams?
no,
No,
Broncos.
Rams won. That's right. Broncos. They look horrible.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll get to it. So we're gonna be giving our week 14 recap. So to start off, it was actually a really good game for once on Thursday Night Football, and that was the Las Vegas Raiders losing in an upset fashion to the Los Angeles Rams. And it's funny because after they lost, I was thinking of this and I was like, oh shoot. We both went the Raiders. My uncle went the Raiders. And
I said don't trust them. Don't trust them. For whatever reason, don't trust the Raiders. I don't care what they do. They could have won last week. And you know what? I went by last week.
yep.
Well, they were on a 3-game winning streak or something of that nature.
Yep.
Just, but they were playing. They were playing what I would consider an inferior opponent,
Yep.
even by Raider standards.
Yeah.
But don't trust the Raiders. Just
Yeah. It was bad. Just to just let you guys know what happened. What happened is pretty much the Raiders, up until that last drive by the Rams, dominated this entire game. And Baker Mayfield eventually in the second drive, the second offensive possession for the Rams, got in the game. And he was fine for the most part, but he obviously came to shine on that last drive. The Raiders pretty much get pin them deep, pretty much like on their opposing 1 or 2 yard line. Baker Mayfield drives the Rams 98 yards down the field and
98.
pretty much wins the game for them. Now, the Raiders on that last drive, they had some really bad penalties that gave the Rams some opportunities to move the ball a little bit more due to those penalties. Again, for a guy that, well, just came up in the building like a day or two at that point in time and just freaking just executed the offense the best he could. That takes a lot of props right then and there. Honestly, just looking at this game, the Raiders should have blew out the Rams. They had their opportunities where they got into the red zone, they just were not converting touchdowns. And when you pretty much are dominating majority of this game, it's a whole thing of if you leave these teams in these games, despite how bad they may be over a course of a season, they'll still find a way to somehow win, and that can come back to bite you in the butt. So yeah, Derek Carr, he threw like a weird interception at the end of the first half. I understand his lineman bumped into him, which maybe affected his throw, but I really thought he should have just not even thrown that. It just should have just taken the sack and just took the points going into halftime because that changed complete momentum. And the freaking Raiders, this could be a game where they look back at it. If whatever playoff chance, I'm not saying their playoff chances are dead. They still have a chance because they're in the hunt. But this loss more than likely may seal their playoff chances. You had to
They're
win.
done. They're done. Come on, man. Josh McDaniels, really, come on, dude. You done lost to Baker Mayfield. You done lost to Jeff Saturday. I mean, this is.
Yeah. So
I don't even want to.
I'll
I'm
move
not
on.
doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not sipping that tea. I'm not falling for the okey doke. I'm not doing it anymore. The Raiders are done to me. Done. I'm done with the Raiders for this season. I know I've already said that a couple times this year, and I fell for it. I fell for it again. Every time I pick the Raiders, they let me down. So I'm done with the Raiders for the rest of the year. I'll just take that L if they win. I just don't trust them.
Right now we're both 0-1 because we both took the Raiders.
Yeah.
Sunday slate of games. One of the first games was the Bills versus the Jets. The Bills this time they get their payback and they beat the Jets at home. This was actually a pretty close game. I think the weather obviously played a factor. It was actually pretty windy, and even next week in the Miami Dolphins versus Bills game next week, weather will play a huge factor because it's gonna be snowing in that game from what I'm hearing. But pretty much, I think the one biggest thing coming out of this game is that Mike White took a legit beating. He took like this one hit after letting go of the ball, and he just got rocked.
He got hit good.
So even then, the Jets tried to find a way to get back in the game, but again, the Bills just played pretty good defense and they just beat a division rival. So again, the Bills winning this game keeps them at the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So pretty much they got to win out to keep that seed because the Chiefs are chasing right behind them.
The biggest takeaway from me was after Mike White got hurt, that was it. There was literally nothing that the Jets could do. They were just dominated. They were just dominated. And then on top of that, just to show you that the Jets have literally no faith in Zach Wilson, they brought in Joe Flacco.
Oh, this is the second time Zach Wilson's been just straight up inactive. He doesn't even dress.
Yeah, that's just to tell you. But then again, coming out of college, they said Wilson's biggest hindrance was his ego. He thinks his stuff don't stink. So, so again, it's just, I think the Jets are going to be in the quarterback market. If not next year, the year after that, especially, depending on Flacco staying in the league, them trying to find something to do with Zach Wilson, they're going to be in the quarterback market. So I would probably just look for the Jets to probably definitely go quarterback at some point during this next draft, just so they can at least try to, if not get the future quarterback, get someone that can actually push Mike White to be a better version of himself. But yeah, for me, now, if we're talking about teams that are done, if Mike White can't come back, the Jets are finished for this year.
Yeah. Next game, Bengals versus the Browns. The Bengals pretty much had their way. This game at first was pretty close, and then eventually the Bengals, they just pulled away from the Browns. I caught a little bit of this game, but nothing else. The Bengals just been on a hot streak. When you're on a hot streak, they're looking already at the playoffs right now. So, or maybe even trying to win the division with the fact that right now Ravens are on a threat in terms of quarterback right now. They're on the 3rd string quarterback. But nothing else to really say. It's kind of the thing. Other than that, what this loss for the Browns, they're kind of done. It's just kind of end of the year for them. They're waiting until next year because they'll get a full season to Deshaun Watson next year.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And on top of that, the Bengals look Super Bowl ready.
Yeah.
They're currently on a 5-game winning streak, and they don't look like they're going to stop. They finally got Jamar Chase back in his full form as probably the best wide receiver, maybe, if not in that division, in the AFC. So, but I don't really see any team in that division that's going to keep the Bengals from winning it, because the Ravens, they got some serious injury issues that is going to affect them for at least the next couple of weeks. The Bengals is just at this particular moment is on their way to winning, the AFC North.
Yep. Next game, a lot closer game than I thought it was. I'm like, if the freaking Cowboys are going to blow out the Colts and drop a 50-piece on them, I'm like, they should be able to drop a freaking 60-piece on the Texans. Somehow, the Texans actually came to play for once, and they actually ended up almost winning. The thing is this, just like the Bears, if you saw our Bears recap and against the Packers, the Texans made a business decision, and their business decision was, we got to value the first overall pick of this year's NFL draft. They intercepted Dak Prescott literally in their own red zone. Right there. They have the ball right there. They could just score a touchdown, put the game away, and probably have Stephen A. Smith on First Take the next day freaking going at Michael Irvin saying, why'd you lose to the freaking Texans? Which would have been great TV, but the Texans...
Actually, it would have been great TV. I would have enjoyed that.
But the Texans, just like the Bears a few weeks ago, they realized, oh, crap. The teams behind us, they're only like 2 games away from us. If we win games, well, then there's a chance we lose this first overall pick. albeit the teams in front of them, maybe the exception of the Seattle Seahawks, potentially won't take a freaking quarterback. But that's the thing. They had an opportunity to end the game, and they ran some of the dumbest play calls in that red zone, especially on that second and third goal. The fourth goal play, I don't know what the hell they were doing. They should have just kicked the field goal, if anything, and just had gotten beaten by one.
I liken this to what everyone calls this sports analogy, sports cliche called the snowball effect. The Dallas Cowboys did not come up in here, especially after the week that they had last week. They probably thought they were going to come up in here and smash the Texans.
Yep.
They probably didn't think they had to do a lot to smash the Texans. I don't think they probably practiced for the team next week because they knew they were going to come in and smash the Texans. Problem was Lovie Smith, who's an ex-Bears coach. Unfortunately, that's not how that dude is built. I'm like, I don't give a doggone if we 0-100. We gonna come and we gonna play hard. And if we gonna come out on that field, that's the way we gonna play. I don't think I've ever seen a game this year in which the Texans got totally smashed anyway. I don't think I've seen one. You?
I think there's a game. I can check.
Exactly. But if there is, you got to really look for it. The Texans play hard. They got a studded running back, a decent
They got blown up by the Dolphins, 30-15.
Oh, wow. 30 points. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, the Cowboys scored that in the fourth quarter of their last game, 33. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Texans really, in my opinion, have not been blown out by anybody. They should know that the Texans come and play hard. They came in lackluster and snowball effect for the first three quarters until the Cowboys decided to just wake up and say, hey, man, we can't do this. We got to stay close with the Eagles. We got to do something. So let's just go ahead and give it to our bell cow. Let's see if he can come up with something. So, and yeah, the Texans did help them out a little bit with some play calls that, dare I say, just dumb as hell, that plays that novices like you and I wouldn't call. That fourth down call, I'm looking at that call and I'm just like,
yeah, I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, really. No, I can't believe that call, boy. But anyway,
it's funny.
That's that kind of call that comes down from the GM that say, hey, man, we don't need to win this game, so let's just go ahead and let's, call this play.
Yeah.
And Lovely's probably like, oh, man, come on, man. Really? No, man, if we lose this game, your former team is a game back.
Yep.
Call this play. So anyway, but and for me, that's all it is right now. Is just the race for the number one pick. Yep. Who's gonna get Bryce Young? If it's the Bears, I mean, we definitely ain't drafting quarterback. Yeah, I mean, we definitely ain't drafting quarterback. That means Jalen Carter gonna be number one.
Yeah. I think right now they're more afraid of Denver because they keep losing, and Seattle actually has that Denver pick.
Correct. And Seattle, I think Seattle will draft quarterback, in my opinion.
I could also see them taking Carter. Pete Carroll, I could see him taking Carter too.
I can see him taking Carter too. Just go one more year with Geno at the helm, who seems to be a pretty good quarterback. But what I can tell you about the NFL is that, the NFL always adjusts. Defenses always catch up to what you do. And if you think you're doing that same stuff with Geno Smith this year, we'll have to see if you can do the same thing last year. He's been a journeyman for a reason.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. But you know what? Cowboys did win. They stay on pace with the Eagles. And
they need to.
So we'll see. But we did pick the Cowboys, but I think we both said we thought
it was gonna be a blowout.
It was quick, fast, and hurry. Yeah, man, Cowboys.
Yeah. Next game. Vikings getting absolutely dominated by the Lions. I watched this game in its entirety. It wasn't even freaking close. Eventually, what really started is, for some reason, the Vikings tried to get cute and tried to do a give to the running back jump pass type of thing, but Dalvin Cook fumbled the ball, and pretty much after that, just like my uncle always says, the snowball effect. Pretty much the Lions just looked straight up forward and they just didn't look back. They just absolutely they dominated the Vikings. And mind you, over the course of the season, the Vikings defense has been getting absolutely dominated. This is another reason why I keep telling, and I'm going to continuously say, the Vikings are a first round exit when they make the playoffs. Now, the bad part is for the Vikings is they could have clinched the NFC North with this win. But now, because they lost this game, somehow the Lions still have a chance to win the NFC North. They got to practically win out and hope the Vikings lose a few more games. Which I would be cracking myself up if somehow the Lions win the division and the Vikings choke it all the way. Because it's funny because in the game they showed a stat line of the teams that last won the divisions. I think the Vikings, they last won the division 2017. Packers obviously won it last year. Bears won it in 2018. And then they said at the Lions are like, the last time they won the NFC North, 1993. That's how irrelevant the Detroit Lions have been.
There are 4 teams with 10 or more wins. Eagles, Bills, Vikings, Chiefs. Only the Vikings are a +1. Everyone else is, +30. I think the Eagles might be damn near +100. But only the Vikings, I think they're a +1. And the Lions are steamrolling. And I saw that game from the rooter to the tutor. They put a hat on Cook every time he touched the ball. Don't let them stats fool you. I don't care how many rushing yards he had. He earned every last one of them. Every last one of them. And they doubled Jefferson at every level of the defense. And Aiden Hutchinson was a beast throughout that entire game. They got steamrolled. Don't let that score fool you. They got steamrolled. I think what was it, 34-23 or 30 something like that?
34-23.
Don't let that score fool you. That lad, they got steamrolled. And that's the Lions. And then on top of it, I think I might have texted you as well, too. If you look at that wide receiver room now that Jameson Williams is back, DJ Chark is back, that wide receiver room is impressive. It is highly impressive. They got 4 cats that can get 100 yards on any game, and they are impressive. So watch out for the Lions because
they look like they might not even need to freaking draft a quarterback of the future. Jared Goff looks fine over there.
Yeah, as long as he, all they need is a veteran that can find everybody. And that's what Goff has been doing. It was Reynolds and Chark and, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He had his pick of the litter who he wanted to go to, So, there was, he just had all kinds of choices because the defense just didn't know who to cover.
Yeah.
So,
mind you, Kirk Cousins had like damn near over 400 yards passing. They also did take away the referees did take away a Justin Jefferson touchdown. It was clear he didn't step out of bounds, but they're like, oh, he stepped out of bounds, so they can't go back and review it.
Yeah, I thought that was a piss poor call, but at the same time, though, it really didn't matter one way or the other.
If you watched the Clippers game yesterday, there was a piss poor call. The Clippers actually did a backcourt, and the referees didn't call it. I was absolutely shocked.
Clippers won by 20 anyway, didn't they?
Huh?
Didn't the Clippers win by 20?
Yeah, they won by 20, but it was like when the game was close.
Anyway.
Next game.
Anyway,
right now,
the Lions look like they're the best team in that division. I'll say that.
Yeah. Probably on both sides of the ball right now.
Probably.
So right now I'm 3-2. I went with Minnesota. You went with Detroit. So you're 4-1.
I trust Detroit as opposed to trusting the Raiders. I trust Detroit.
That's a damning quote right there.
I know, right? Here it is. The doggone coach Dan Campbell came in talking about biting knees and ankles. Josh McDaniels comes from, and I know I'm ranting. Josh McDaniel comes from the Belichick tree, and this guy can't beat a quarterback who just drove in the day before, and he can't beat an ex-player who had no coaching experience whatsoever.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Next game, a pretty shocking game, but that was the Jacksonville Jaguars just easily beating the Tennessee Titans.
I know, right?
I didn't watch the game, so I can't really say anything. I just was looking at the score, and I was like,
Evan Ingram beat the beat the Tennessee Titans. Of all the players on any roster in the league, Evan Ingram. I mean, what do you have? Like 10 reception, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns?
let me check. Yeah, 162 yards, 2 TDs.
Yeah. He got targeted 15 times.
Yeah.
He beat them practically all by himself. Because what's his name? Well, Tannehill didn't do too bad. Neither did Derrick Henry. It looks like to me, because I didn't see the game, based I can just tell is that they
Defense
just couldn't
didn't show
convert
up.
when it was in the red zone.
And the defense didn't show up.
Yeah.
No. Nothing much.
We said the Jacksonville Jaguars was actually pretty good. I've always felt that they were one of my teams to watch this year.
Yeah.
I mean, but they won.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty bad loss by the Titans because that's a division rival. And then 2, this win keeps the Jaguars literally in the hunt for now in the playoffs. So there's still a chance they could potentially make the playoffs, but I don't think
they'll still win the division.
Yeah.
They'll win the division because I like the Jaguars, but the Titans have problems. This is what their 3rd loss in a row. Titans got some problems. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens moving forward. But that defense is really failing.
Yeah, it's the 3rd loss in a row. Yep. Next game. Now we both said last week we thought this game would be close, but the Eagles, they're just flying and they just absolutely dominated the Giants from the beginning of the game. Eagles pretty much almost 50-piece the Giants by the score of 48-22. Again, Jalen Hurts, he's just showing off MVP stuff right there. He's just got a lot of weapons, and it just scares me as a Bears fan because we play the Eagles this week. I'm like, we're really going to get 50-piece, aren't we?
No, we don't get our ass kicked. Excuse my French. But I'll say this. In my opinion, I really think that loss is on Brian Dabble. Barkley came in with, they cleared him for the game, but clearly for me, when I was watching, he wasn't 100%. He came in with a neck injury, and honestly, I think they stayed away from him and used him as a decoy instead of using him as the means to, keep Jalen Hurts on the sidelines. And it just didn't work, man. Every time they were on the field, man, the Eagles just found ways to score. I think, Devontae Smith had a touchdown. A.J. Brown had a touchdown. Hurts spread it around. He even ran for a touchdown. So if he's not the if he's not the NFL MVP, I don't know who is.
The only other person you could probably make the case for is maybe Mahomes, but other than that, Mahomes didn't have a good game this week.
Can't even make the case of Mahomes. I don't know of any. Not a running back, wide receiver, defensive player, nobody. At one point, you can argue Micah Parsons.
I guess the only other receiver that potentially could win MVP is probably Justin Jefferson.
Maybe.
That's only it. But other than that,
but at the same time, their record is not indicative. To me, their record is not indicative of the kind of team they are.
Yeah.
So, and plus, he's not having that great a year to even get MVP consideration at the wide receiver position.
You think so?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You really think about it, what's the record for receptions in the year? 149? Was it? It was either Marvin Harrison or what's his name for the Saints? Michael, the receiver for the Saints.
Michael Thomas?
Michael Thomas. Um, I think he had an amazing year with 140 something receptions. So, I mean, to me, Justin Jefferson would have to be in that range to even warrant MVP consideration.
Okay.
And I don't think he's done it. Not
Okay.
for me. Not for me. I mean, he's had some great games, but we're talking about the NFL MVP. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Record wise, I'm 3-4. I went with the Giants this game. And you went with Philadelphia. So you're 5-2 right now. Next game. Ravens at the Steelers, and the Ravens survived by the score of 16-14. We both went Pittsburgh. Now Kenny Pickett actually got hurt, and he ended up getting a concussion thanks to Roquan Smith. So then who do they go back to? Oh, good old Mitch Trubisky. And Mitch Trubisky was handing out those interceptions like they were free candy. One to Roquan Smith, one to Patrick Queen, and I forgot the last guy he threw to. Or the third pick.
It was one of their corners.
Yeah. It's listen, again, to Pittsburgh Steelers fans, as a Bear fan, there was actually some freaking Steelers fans that were sipping the Kool-Aid about Mitch Trubisky. And I was like, no, you shouldn't want to do that. Don't do it. And then now they're realizing, oh, crap, this guy ain't nothing worth anything. And heck, there's still even some dumb Bear fans in this whole thing that still think Mitch got done dirty. It was more of Nagy's fault, not his fault. And I'm like, nah, give it up. Mitch Trubisky is a bad quarterback. If anything, he's just a backup quarterback. This game alone shows you why he's a backup quarterback.
Mitch Trubisky came in off the bench and he looked unprepared. It's just that simple. He looked unprepared. I don't know what that cat did throughout the week. I don't know if he studied. I don't even know if he planned to study. I don't even know if he wanted to study. But he looked unprepared at what the Ravens was going to throw at him. The middle linebackers, for the most part, they just zoned him up. And I get wanting to try to be aggressive with the 2 interceptions he threw to the linebackers. He was just trying to chuck something.
Were horrible.
Yeah, I mean, he looked bad. But that last drive, the problem for me is that the Ravens quarterbacks were just so ineffective that they kept giving the ball back to Trubisky. They kept giving him the ball back. So he had opportunities to learn and adjust to what the Ravens were doing defensively, but he kept giving him the ball back, and the Ravens kept giving him the ball back. It was just offensively, it was a typical Steelers-Ravens game, just really bad offense, great defense. So it's what we come to expect out of Ravens Steelers, but I would have loved to have seen this game with both teams starting quarterbacks at 100%.
Yeah. Tyler Huntley, he actually ended up getting a concussion as well. So they had
he got hit. He got rocked. He got rocked so good that he turned back. I thought it was a leg injury at first, because he really fell back on his left leg. So I thought that's what was the case. And come to find out that, he got a concussion, but he got hit really good.
Yeah. So right now the Ravens are on their 3rd string quarterback. So that does not bode well if they want to try to win the division. So
not with the way Cincinnati playing.
Yeah. I think Pittsburgh wins if Kenny Pickett doesn't get concussed, but
I agree.
Moving on. Next game. A game I was hoping that the Broncos were to win so they don't end up freaking. I was hoping this from the draft standpoint, but I knew that they weren't.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Because I was about to say, you were starting to worry me there for a minute.
And this game was actually a lot closer. The Chiefs almost honestly choked this game away, to be honest. Thanks to Patrick Mahomes throwing 3 interceptions. At first it looked like complete domination. I was recording some video. Then I come back downstairs. I see the freaking Chiefs are up 27-7. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I'm like, this game's over. The freaking Broncos are going to lose this game. Seattle's going to get the number 2 overall pick. Bears going to bounce back to number 3. And all of a sudden, at the end of the second quarter, Broncos get a touchdown, got some good momentum going at halftime. And they actually make almost a legit storming comeback. Russell Wilson, on one of the plays, he ends up running out of the pocket. He literally puts his body on the line, and the moment he got hit, the camera showed his face. I'm like, that boy is concussed. I can see it, and he looked out of it. He looked out of it like he just seen a ghost or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, his eyes.
He
He's
had a
done.
nice little knot on his head too.
You could just see him look. I'm like, yeah, get him out the game.
Back when I was a kid, we called it a frog. And I gotta admit, he had a nice little knot on his head. So, but needless to say, that Broncos defense is good.
Yep.
It's good. Case in point by the Mahomes 3 interceptions and how they got up so far. And the defense just kept chipping, kept giving the ball back to the offense. And the Broncos offense was actually chipping away at some things. So give the Broncos defense credit, but
yeah. But this loss, they're eliminated from playoff contention. So
hopefully they get another game in, and then we can go ahead and lose out, and we keep that number 2 pick.
Well, they play the Rams at some point in the season. I think they also play the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are on their backup quarterback too.
With another Baker Mayfield.
I need the Broncos to at least win a game or two. That's all I care about.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm not buying the whole Baker Mayfield film session domination for the next week. Honestly, if you're gonna ask me this week, I'm gonna go with the Broncos over the Rams.
The only problem with the situation is now with Russell Wilson hurt, they got to go to their backup quarterback.
You know, that might be a good thing with the way Russell's been playing.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, I would say this is probably Russell Wilson's best game I watched him play.
Yeah, he did have a really good game when the Broncos was overseas when they were over here.
Yeah.
He had a good game then.
Okay. Record-wise, I'm 4-5. My uncle's 6-3. Next game, Tampa Bay versus the 49ers. In shocking fashion, the 49ers just absolutely kicked freaking Tom Brady and the Buccaneers' butt so bad. You had freaking Skip Bayless trying to defend that on Undisputed and damn near saying that.
What did he say? I didn't even watch it.
He pretty much said pretty much, again, for background information, Shannon Sharp, he has been trying to tell Skip Bayless that Tom Brady hasn't been good this year. And pretty much he was saying Skip Bayless replied by saying, like, well, you're just jealous because he's playing at age 45 and you had to retire at age 35. And then Shannon Sharp's like, why the hell would I be jealous? I got in Hall of Fame. I got 3 Super Bowls. And Skip Bayless was like, well, who cares? You know, Skip Bayless loves him some Tom Brady. That's all I can say. I thought it was a little bit I thought it was a little bit too far. They probably handled that after the take was over, and he may apologize and things like that. I don't know, but I thought he went a little bit too far. But whatever. 49ers kicked the frickin', and excuse my language, kicked Tampa Bay's ass pretty much. It wasn't even contest. It was so bad. Me and my dad were watching it on the live TV broadcast. You had the host for NFL Sunday football on Fox, I think Kurt Menefee, he's like, because Tom Brady hasn't really done anything, we're going to switch over to the more competitive game, which at the time was the Panthers-Seahawks game.
Yeah. And it was the same thing for me. After that first quarter, I was just like, you know what? For me, Tom Brady is still the best quarterback I ever saw, but he would have had to go into his hip pocket, pull out his King James version, quote some scriptures, and just hope for a miracle. That just wasn't going to happen because the 49ers was just all over.
Yeah.
All over. And they couldn't do anything offensively. I don't care who the quarterback was. Brock Purdy did play really well. Shanahan, who is a really good play caller. Mm-hmm. You know, he's a really good play caller. We'll give Shanahan some credit. You know, sometimes, you know, when he's behind is when, you know, he seems to, you know, drop the ball at play calling. But, you know, he play called his tail off this game. He called some amazing stuff that always worked. Kittle was good. Samuel was good. McCaffrey was good. It was just an annihilation.
Yeah. Speaking of Deebo Samuel, he got hurt in this game. At first, it looked like I thought he tore his ACL. Like, I'm like, oh, shoot, he's done. And I'm like, well, if he's done, then the 49ers' chances of going to the Super Bowl, they're done. And now you get word saying he may have broke his ankle. I'm like, okay, then he really done. That's actually a lot better than just a
Then
torn
they said
ACL.
ankle sprain.
Yeah, and then I was getting to that. And then they said,
Oh,
no, he just suffered a high ankle sprain. I'm like, oh, so he'll just be
my.
out a few weeks and he'll be back. So the chances for the 49ers are still there, but the way he got carted off, the way his reaction was, I'm like, oh, I thought he tore his ACL or something
Yeah, I thought
worse.
so too. I
Um,
thought so too.
but luckily for the 49ers, he just has a high ankle sprain. It's those things where you end up getting rolled up, things like that. So yeah. Next
You know
game.
what I think, I'm sorry, what I think is really interesting is, and we haven't seen it. As a matter of fact, the last time I think we saw it was in the same division, the NFC South.
Yeah.
The winner of that division is going to be a sub 500 record,
Oh yeah.
and it's like
Buccaneers are definitely just like the Vikings. I'm putting them in the pool with the Vikings. They're gonna be a first round exit if they make the playoffs.
yeah, probably, because more than likely this division winner will wind up playing one of the wild card teams.
Yeah.
You so yeah.
And then I don't know. Their offense.
It really depends on the wild card team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I will say this though. I have more trust in the Minnesota Vikings than I do the Buccaneers.
Yeah, because their offense is anemic. With all those weapons, it's still anemic.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, it's that offensive line. They just don't block.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that offensive line is horrible for Tampa Bay. I see why Brady was yelling and screaming at them because, they can't hold blocks. They getting crazy penalties. And, it was one play. They had three false starts in a row. I'm just like, dude, just be still.
Yeah.
So it was just, that offensive line has been horrible all year long.
Yep. Next game. I was actually happy the Panthers won this game because it moves them back down the board. Panthers ended up upsetting the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, beating them by 30-24. Seattle tried to make a late push at the end, but it was too late. Damage was already done. Bad loss by Seattle, especially for a team that is trying to keep maybe a chance at winning division alive. And I think they're also a wild card team right now. So any losses?
Not right now. Their
not
loss,
right now. Okay.
Not their loss kept the Giants in. So right now, at this very moment, all NFC East teams are currently playoff teams. Okay. That loss really helped the Giants out because the Giants and the Commanders, they got that tie. So Seattle's got to do better in order to get that last spot.
Yep, and they play 49ers Thursday night this week.
Oh well. So. And that might be a good thing for them because it's such a short turnaround, and the 49ers had a really great game, and I think they're in Seattle too.
Yeah, they're in Seattle too.
Yeah, so that's a really good turnaround. So we'll see.
Yeah. We're running out of time. We'll be back and we'll go over the next two games really quickly, and then we'll give our predictions for next week. Okay, so the next game after the Panthers Seahawks game was a Sunday night game, and that was the Los Angeles Chargers against the Dolphins. The Chargers ended up winning by the score of 23-17. Chargers pretty much had their way with this game pretty much. Tua was off. This by far wasn't his best game of the season. I think it was a little bit of his bad play because, it's funny because I go downstairs and even though I'm watching the game upstairs in my room, not paying much attention to it because I was doing homework, and I see the stat lines and I'm like, he has 25 yards passing. My dad's like, yeah, he has 25 yards passing. I'm like, what the? Bad. He was just missing receivers, very inaccurate. And then also, I thought the play calling had a little bit of factor to doing it. They didn't throw enough screens or short to intermediate passes. They just always tried to take deep shots. Now, they did get one deep shot to Tyreek Hill, but even then, at least run the ball some more, do some screens, do something. But the Chargers had their way. There was one really good throw from Herbert to Keenan Allen. That pretty much sealed the deal for the game. But other than that, it's kind of the thing with the Dolphins. Right now, they're on a pretty bad losing streak right now. They're on a 2-game losing streak going to Buffalo, which I think in a game that might determine their season, probably, if they make the playoffs or not. Also, another funny part is they had the heaters on the sideline in SoFi. Now, I live in Southern California. I ain't gonna lie, it's actually been pretty chilly out here. We've been getting like mid 60 to low 60s for our highs in the day, and then it drops down to mid 50s, almost 40s at night.
And that's cold.
For Californians, yes.
Okay, how about for Cameron Winfrey?
For me, it gets get pretty chilly. I was wearing my beanie. You catch me wearing a beanie, I'm cold.
Come on, man. Come
I know I
on.
lived in Connecticut for a few years, but
Oh my
trust me, it's a
goodness.
little cold.
That ain't cold.
I know. I know
That
what
ain't
cold
cold.
is, but I'm like, it was chilly. It was chilly. Where
That ain't cold.
I had to bundle up a bit.
That ain't cold. Try coming up here where we don't.
I lived in Connecticut where I would get -2 degrees.
Anyway, let me tell you what's going on from my opinion with the Miami Dolphins. I said it when the Dolphins played the Bears. Teams are, if you want to beat the Dolphins, make Tua go deep. Make him go deep, because he has not shown in my mind, with my eyes, from what I've seen, that he can hit any pass beyond 40 yards. I haven't seen it. I'll look up some numbers to back up my statement, but to me, that's exactly what the Chargers did. The Chargers dared him to go deep.
He wasn't reading the defense well. Pretty much the Chargers, and even they said in the post game,
he kept trying to force underneath pass and passes over the linebacker's head and passes in coverage. That's because those are his prime passes. Those short to intermediate routes. You try to get him to go further than 20, 30, 40 yards, that's where you're going to beat the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think in the NBC post game, they made a mention. I think Rodney Harrison made a mention. Like all what the Chargers were doing on the defense was just playing pretty much a two-shell look, which you have two high safeties, and then your front seven, it's based on what you want to do. If you want to blitz your linebackers or drop them back into coverage, and then your corners are either.
You don't need to blitz them. Let them stand back in the pocket. You cover everything short to intermediate, and you use those two safeties and make them go deep.
Yep.
Make them go deep. If anything, you zone blitz them. Drop a defensive tackle back into coverage. Rush 3, put 8 back. And for me, that's what I've seen out of Miami. And I love me. I love our guys that come into the league from Alabama, but Tua has got some serious issues where he can't go deep. And he gonna have to in the playoffs. He gonna have to. And that's the only way they're gonna win. Run the ball. And I think then on top of that, they didn't even run the ball 20 times.
Yeah. It's like they just completely abandoned it.
I think the Mostert had 11 carries. Didn't even see anything out of Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, and the Chargers aren't good against the run either.
No, they're not. So, after last week against the 49ers and then this week against the Chargers, now I'm starting to get a little worried about the Dolphins, man, because it seems like to me teams are starting to prepare to keep Tua from throwing his short to intermediate routes. He was 10 for 28. He kept forcing passes that otherwise, he would make.
Yeah.
But he gonna have to start going deep eventually, and he gonna have to basically throw it with all he got. But I haven't seen anything about him going deep to anybody.
Yep. So the Monday Night Football game this week was the New England Patriots versus the Arizona Cardinals. I watched a little bit of it, but after that, I just switched the game over to the Clippers, especially when I saw the fact that New England was just dominating.
Mac Jones is not really happy with Matt Patricia.
Oh yeah, you can easily tell.
They were like, dude, you need to go back to defense because this ain't working.
Yeah, I think it's already. I think we can already see just from the standpoint that Matt Patricia and Mac Jones more than likely don't get along with each other. So that's kind of the thing.
And basically what's going on with the Raiders, I can see McDaniels coming back.
Well, if he gets fired.
You think that ain't going to happen?
I don't think that. Honestly, right now, I think the freaking Davis is going to see like, they had a nice few wins, a little late surge. Let's keep him for another year.
Okay.
Davis is a
You know
crazy
what?
dude.
They haven't played that bad for him to be fired this year. I mean, they're not,
I'd say
they're
it's
not
just more inconsistency with the
they're
Raiders.
not the Texans of anything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the problem with Belichick, people's on the Belichick tree, is that we expect the coaches from the Belichick tree to be like Belichick,
Yeah.
and McDaniels is not that kind of cat. You know, so if we look at all the guys from the Belichick tree, I mean, you would think that they would all be like him. And then on top of it, the Patriot way don't work everywhere.
Yeah. I would say the only potential successor that looks like he's doing a solid job is probably Vrabel. Other than that,
Yeah,
nobody else.
it seems to work in Tennessee.
Yeah.
It seems to
I
really
think
work.
that's just more of Vrabel because
But
he used to play.
Vrabel was an ex player.
Yeah, ex-player, and I think he also coached on the staff for it sometime.
Correct, he did. He was an ex player.
Yeah.
Now I don't, and granted, um, I don't know what type of player resume that a lot of the other Belichick, Charlie Weiss, Romeo Crennel, McDaniels. I think Weiss and they might have been offensive linemen, but and obviously McDaniels is offensive, but I think the reason why Vrabel is really good because not only was he a Pro Bowl player, that the players can respect, he was actually a really good coach under Belichick as well too. So, but the other ones, I have no idea what they did as players, especially Matt Patricia. I mean, he might have been a quarterback, I think, but
The biggest thing coming out of this Monday Night Football
using
game,
him as an offensive coordinator, I don't even know what the hell Coach Belichick was thinking there.
I don't know. The biggest thing coming out of this game, honestly, wasn't the Patriots winning. It was Kyler Murray on the third play of the game, ending up pretty much tearing his ACL. He just had a non-contact injury, went down.
Yeah.
He practically tore his ACL. So
The way
obviously,
he runs, I'm not shocked. It looks like he slides his feet
when
when he runs instead of lifts his feet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It just doesn't look like it doesn't look like a fluid running motion. Um, and sometimes it's really uncomfortable for me to watch, when he runs. So hopefully it's not an ACL and he can come back. But
yeah,
it's a shame that Arizona just pumped all that money into him. Well, I'm glad they pumped all that money in because obviously, you're gonna need a good bit of it to go back.
yeah.
he,
And
he
when you
gonna
look at that,
he
when you
gonna
look at
rest really good because he's getting paid now.
yeah, when you look and then when you look at that, it's funny because before we started recording, I saw Stephen A. Smith on First Take talking about like Lamar Jackson better be watching what happened to Kyler Murray because he ain't got his bag yet.
No,
So
no.
yeah.
And I gotta admit, I would not be shocked with 3 games to play. I would, as a matter of fact, I wouldn't be shocked if Lamar Jackson just decides not to play for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I think his time in Baltimore is done anyway.
Yeah. Looking at the divisions, AFC East, Buffalo is pretty much running away with the division, 10-3. They play Miami this upcoming week. They're 8-5. I think this is a must-win game for Miami, but we'll talk about that in the predictions. New England actually keeps their playoff lives alive with their win. Right now they're third place because they beat Jets earlier in the season. Right now, Jets are at 7-6. Like the Patriots, but the reason why Jets are fourth place is New England beat them earlier in the season.
And the Patriots currently are the last team in the playoffs too. So
yeah,
that bodes well them. You got a 3-way tie for that last spot. Patriots, Chargers, and Jets. Chargers are playing well. Jets are spiraling. I don't really expect them to do anything without Mike White. But at least the Patriots right now have that last spot in the AFC.
Yep. AFC North, Baltimore and Cincinnati are tied at 9-4 apiece. Don't they have like another game against each other?
We'd have to look and see, but let's see. Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Patriots, and to close out the last game of the year. Nope.
Oh, wow.
Still has got the Ravens. Still has got the Ravens again on the 1st of January. So they're done. But at the same time, though, when you're going with a rookie quarterback the rest of the way,
Yeah.
and Cincinnati is playing as well as they are, yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati to win that division.
Yeah. Right now, Cleveland and Pittsburgh, they're both 5-8 in the division. They have some playoff hopes, but again, their playoff chances are probably done.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now the only teams that are actually worth talking about um, are, yes, as far as the playoffs are concerned, um, Dolphins, Patriots, Chargers, Jets. Of those four teams, honestly, I do like the Patriots and the Chargers. To me, Miami is spiraling as well as the Jets. Miami is spiraling because they can't throw down the field, and the Jets are spiraling because now they don't even know who to play a quarterback.
AFC South, Tennessee still leading the division at 7-6, but Jacksonville, if they maybe win out and they hope Tennessee gets maybe 2 losses, they could potentially come back and win the division.
That's possible. That's possible. And I do like the Jaguars. But I mean, and they're only 2 games back.
Yeah.
So I mean, potentially, I mean, they got the Texans. Um, uh, let's see here. Oh, Ravens Bengals, last game of the year.
Okay. Then
January 8th.
that game could be for the division.
Yep. Jaguars. Jaguars, where are you, Jaguars? Jaguars Titans, last game of the year.
Okay.
So I mean, we could be potentially looking at 2 games for the division.
Yep. Indy's 4-8, and then Houston's they're what they are. They're already eliminated from playoff contention. AFC West, Kansas City pretty much is running away with the division. This week they actually needed a win as well as a Chargers loss to win the AFC West. So pretty much that's probably going to be going on for the rest of the last few weeks this season. They need Chargers to lose at least a game so they can shore up the AFC West, which I think they will eventually. It'll be interesting. I don't see the Chargers catching them. Chiefs, I think they're just going to continue winning games. They're 10-3. Chargers 7-6. Las Vegas is 5-8, and then Denver is 3-10. They're eliminated already. Going over to the NFC. Philadelphia.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was going to say one day with 4 games to play and they're down 3. Yeah, Chiefs going to win that division.
Yeah. NFC East. Philadelphia this week clinched a playoff berth. After beating the Giants, so they're 12-1. Dallas definitely needs them to lose a few games, at least 2 games, or no, at least 1 game, and then they would have to win another game. Or actually, no, they actually do need them to lose 2 games because Philadelphia holds a tiebreaker over Dallas. They would still be first place. Dallas is behind them at 10-3. Washington and New York are 7-5-1.
And keep in mind, the Cowboys got the Eagles week 16.
Yep.
So
Christmas Eve.
I'm pretty sure they're going to be hoping that the Eagles drop one before that game.
Yep. NFC North, Minnesota 10-3, Detroit 6-7, Green Bay's 5-8, and the Bears are eliminated from playoff contention at 3-10. Again, we made a mention earlier that Minnesota, they're gonna have to win, I guess, some games and then hope Detroit loses at least a game to shore up the NFC North. But again, we already said it earlier, they're a first round exit.
One more win and Minnesota wins the division.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 4 games to play, and they're up on that division by 4 games. So I think if Minnesota wins next week, they got the NFC North wrapped up.
Yep. NFC South is actually pretty close. Tampa Bay is at 6-7. Carolina, which was I think either 4th or 3rd, they jump up actually to number 2nd place in the division at 5-8. They're tied with Atlanta. And Carolina and Atlanta do have a shot to potentially win the division with Tampa Bay the way they've been playing.
Carolina's actually playing good, 2-game winning streak. Um, just really don't know what Tampa Bay team is going to show up from week to week. Somebody eventually has got to show that they want to win this division. Right now, it seems like it's Carolina.
Yeah. So yeah. And then NFC West. Oh, New Orleans, they're dead last. They're done. NFC
Yeah.
West. San Francisco's leading at 9-4. Seattle is 7-6, and then Arizona and the Rams are tied at 4-9.
Well, actually, the 49ers, man, 49ers going to win this division. Um, yeah, 49ers going to win this division. I mean, we'll see if Seattle's good enough to crack that top 7 in the conference so they can make the playoffs. But I don't see any other reason not to go with the 49ers.
Yeah. And then just playoff standings, how they go. Buffalo is the number 1 seed right now, so if they win, they not only get a bye, but they also get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Kansas City's behind them. They're actually tied right now, so they're both tied at 10-3. So one
But
of
the
these
Bills have
teams,
a tiebreaker, right?
yeah, Bills have the tiebreaker.
Bills have a tiebreaker because they beat Kansas City.
Yep. So
Yeah,
practically, these teams have to win out. Kansas City has to hope the Bills lose a game,
correct.
so they can get that first seed. Baltimore right now, since they're a division leader, they're the 3rd seed. Tennessee is the 4th seed. And then the wildcard teams right now are Cincinnati, Miami, and New England. Chargers were where New England was at, but then they got booted out. I think that
But
has
I can say, and we've said it earlier, that Cincinnati should win his division. Now it depends on what Baltimore does their last 4 games, but if they lose out, they're 9-8, and that still might be good enough for them to stay in the playoffs. But at the same time, depends on what the Dolphins, Patriots, Chargers, and Jets do. Um, you know, Baltimore could be out because they're working with a rookie quarterback. They need to probably win one of these one of these last 4 games, just to assure themselves a spot in the playoffs.
Yep. NFC wise, Philadelphia is the 1st seed. Minnesota is the 2nd seed. San Francisco is the 3rd seed. Tampa Bay is the 4th seed. Dallas and the wildcard teams are Dallas, Washington, and New York Giants.
I'm really interested to see 49ers and Eagles get down. I really want to. I really would love to see that. I love me some Tom Brady, but the Buccaneers aren't what the Buccaneers are this year. For a myriad of reasons. But I really would love to see the Eagles with the way they're playing right now, and the 49ers with the way they're playing right now. So that's going to be pretty interesting to watch.
Yep. So getting into the week 15 predictions, Thursday night starts off with the San Francisco 49ers going to Seattle. I think that's going to be a good game. Personally, right now, I just think I like the way the 49ers are playing right now, even with Brock Purdy. I'm going to go with them winning in Seattle on a cold Thursday night game. That's just me.
Yeah, I'll go with the 49ers as well, too. Even if they don't have Deebo Samuel, I think they got just enough to be able to control Geno Smith and a couple of turnovers that they can take advantage of.
Yeah. We actually have a few Saturday games, Saturday slate of games this weekend. So they're all on NFL Network if you guys want to know. So the first Saturday game is the Colts versus the Vikings. Vikings should win this game fairly easily. That's kind of the thing. But if
Where
somehow
are the?
it's in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, let's go with the.
And
Go with
plus,
the
with the
Vikings.
way Matt Ryan played against the Cowboys, gives me no vote of confidence. He
And
was
with the way
practically.
the Vikings played last week against Detroit, yeah, I'll go with the Vikings.
Yeah. The next Saturday game is the Ravens at the Browns.
That running game against an offense who has issues scoring 20 points with a third string quarterback. And I haven't heard anything about Lamar Jackson playing. So we have to go under the assumption that Anthony Brown is going to get the start in Baltimore. So that said, with uh, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna go with the better quarterback. I'll go
Yeah.
with the Browns, provided that Lamar Jackson does not play.
I don't think he's playing.
I don't think he's playing either. So I'm gonna go with Huntley in the concussion protocol. Anthony Brown gets a start. Browns win.
Yeah, I'm going with Browns. I just think right now they have the better quarterback. They're at home. Their
Yep.
defense should throw off Brown Jr. and make things tough for
Sure.
him. So
Sure.
yeah, and then the last game on Saturday which is the Saturday night game, and that is a game that um we've been talking about the Dolphins. This could potentially be a game that is huge for in terms of them making the playoffs, probably, and saving their season, and that is them traveling to Buffalo, which, from what the forecast I'm hearing, it's gonna be like 4 or 7 inches of snow at that game.
Now that's gonna be cold, young man.
Oh yeah, I know.
That's
And then
that's
upstate New York, oh hell no,
yeah,
I don't want to be
yeah,
up.
that's cold. And that upstate New York is right on the water.
Yeah,
It's gonna be cold.
yeah.
So
I know.
you
I know how cold upstate New York goes
yeah,
because when I
yeah,
was
that's
playing.
that's gonna be cold. So yeah. Um and that ball is gonna be really heavy for Tua to throw. And if you think he can't throw for 40 yards now, let him try to throw 40 yards in that weather.
Yeah, I think Buffalo's going to be up to play this game from the week when the Miami Dolphins beat them in their building. Um,
Mhm.
I feel like the weather's going to play a factor. I just feel like the Bills right now they're just going to see the Dolphins. They're going to see what happened because they had a chance to beat the Dolphins back then. It's just things happened in that game. They didn't have enough time.
I
Um,
think they're going to remember exactly
yeah,
what happened and come out really highly motivated to play. And yes, they should win this game, probably by 2 touchdowns.
yeah, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going Bills. I'm going Bills here. So
Yep.
it's gonna be a fun game to watch.
It
So
might not be with the way the Dolphins been playing
yeah, those heaters are gonna be going like crazy though.
like crazy. They might double them up.
My God, they might as well just travel to Buffalo or upstate New York and practice in that weather right now instead of go back to
They
Miami
might
in
as
the
well.
humidity.
They might as well. If McDaniel was smart, like I believe he is, man, get out of Miami and get up there. They should be up there today. They should be up there now. I would. I would have had them on the plane Monday
Yeah, because
to
if you
get
stay
up
in
there.
that humid weather and you go out there
Yep.
Saturday night and
Yep. You got to get them used to that cold because it's a big difference playing in that cold weather.
yep. Um, Sunday games, the Bears tragically return. Good God, they play.
Philadelphia is going to beat them by 3 touchdowns.
The way they played against the Giants, they might 50-piece them.
Now, keep in mind now, uh, the Bears offense is still pretty good. So I think the Bears will probably keep it close early,
Yep.
first half. I look for Justin Fields to get into the end zone a couple of times. But after in the second half, I say they make their adjustments, and that's when they break it open. 3 touchdown win for the Eagles.
Yeah. Next game. I'm also going Philadelphia. So yeah. Next game. The Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints.
And they're starting Desmond Ritter too.
Yeah, they're starting Desmond Ritter, and Andy Dalton's going to be starting for the Saints. I'm going to go with the Saints because the Saints, they're still a solid defense, and I think they'll give Ritter some problems, and then Andy Dalton, he's a veteran quarterback, so he'll do just enough to get them to win, which I thought they did 2 weeks ago in Tampa Bay. It's just bad coaching led to that loss.
Yeah, I can't see a rookie going on the road, especially to New Orleans, and winning that game. I mean, yes, I'll go with the Saints as well too. Um, yeah, I'll go with the Saints as well too. I can't see a rookie's first start on the road winning under any circumstances, let alone going to New Orleans.
Yeah. This could be a really good game to watch for, but obviously based on health alone. Detroit at New York Jets.
Ooh. I'm gonna ride or die with the Lions, man. I've been a fan of theirs all year long. I like the Lions, uh, and and the Jets are spiraling. If they come out with Joe Flacco, yeah, man, the Jets are spiraling in the wrong direction, and the Lions are on their way up. Lions.
Yeah, man. I have to go Lions too. They've just been looking pretty good, really good.
They've been looking really good. And granted, but at the same time, it's outdoors.
Yeah.
It's they're gonna have the same issue as Miami. I mean, the Lions, it's cold weather, it's a cold weather city, but they
Yeah,
play
but
indoors. They
but
play indoors in Detroit.
yeah, but
So
they play in two places in Chicago and Green Bay that gets cold.
oh yeah, that's true too. They haven't been to, they haven't been to those places in that kind of weather this year. But at the same time, though, it's just like Flacco, man. You get Flacco. You got Aiden Hutchinson on one side, you got Flacco on the other. No, man. I'm going with the Lions. They might actually put up 30.
Yep.
You
Next
know.
game, Pittsburgh at Carolina.
I like Carolina.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Carolina too.
I
The
like
reason why,
Carolina. Carolina's playing some really good football. Sam Darnold is not, he's not wooing you with, a lot of gaudy numbers, but you know, he's not turning the ball over, and he's and I know most prognosticators don't like the term. He's managing the offense.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go Carolina. If Mitch Trubisky is starting, I'm going Carolina now. It'll be interesting to see if Mike Tomlin's like, you know what, we've already been with the Mitch Trubisky thing. Mason Rudolph, get in there and see what you can give us.
Maybe, but I would go with Carolina even if Pickett was starting.
Really?
Yeah, man, Carolina is actually playing like they want that division.
Okay. Okay.
They're playing like they want that division, and they see it's right in front of them. They're only a game back.
True. Next game. This could be a potential upset game right here. With the way the Cowboys played last week, and that's the Cowboys at Jacksonville Jaguars.
I don't like the Jacksonville Jaguars after a win. For whatever reason, they haven't been able to put two wins together. They might have, but they struggle. I mean, so I'm gonna go with the Cowboys because I know the Cowboys is watching the Eagles and they gotta keep pace. They gotta keep pace. They lose a game, they'll probably wind up losing out in the division because the Eagles are playing the second worst team in the league.
Yep.
And the Cowboys got to keep pace. So I'm gonna go with the Cowboys to actually come with it this week.
I'm going with the upset. I'm going
You're
with
gonna go
Jack.
with the upset. I mean, hey, that it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
It's not like you picking the Bears over the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. So so we'll see. But Cowboys got to come with it because if they don't, Jacksonville will beat them. Jacksonville ain't the Texans.
Yeah.
Jacksonville will beat them if the Cowboys don't come with it defensively.
Yep. Next game is Kansas City at Houston. Kansas City in a blowout.
We said that about Cowboys, but
Yeah, but the difference is it's Kansas City.
it's Kansas City. Okay, yeah, I can get you on that one. Let's go. Kansas City about 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Next game, Arizona at the Broncos.
Neither team may have a starting quarterback.
Yeah, they're not. Both of their teams not having a starting quarterback.
Um,
I'm going with the Broncos. I'm going with the Broncos because one, they're the home team.
Home?
Yeah, they're at home. Broncos are at home.
I'm gonna go with Arizona.
Really? Okay.
I'm gonna go with Arizona. I think was it Colt McCoy?
Yeah, Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy. Um, yeah, I'll go with Arizona because Arizona is still a, you know, logistically a solid football team. You know, James Conner is playing well. DeAndre Hopkins is playing well. So, yeah, I'll go with Arizona.
Yeah, I'm going Denver. I
And I'm
think.
only, yeah, I know why you're going Denver. You're going Denver because you want to see Denver win.
Yeah.
But Arizona's the same thing now. Arizona's 4-9 as well. So, you know, that's my thinking as well too. But I think, you know, I think Arizona's good enough to get 20 points, which is good enough to beat the Broncos.
Okay. Um, Interesting matchup here, I guess. Battle of, I guess, a Belichick disciple versus Belichick, and that's Patriots at the Raiders.
I'm not trusting the Raiders. No, put me down for the Patriots.
You going to?
I'm going Patriots. I'm done with the Raiders.
Okay. Damn, man. You know what? I'm gonna sip the Kool-Aid one more time. I'm just gonna go
I knew you. I knew you were just. It's just right there on the edge, and you're just like,
yeah. I just feel like I don't know with this offensive issues with Mac Jones and Matt Patricia, you know.
those are things that can be worked out in a week.
Yeah. I'm just
Those
gonna
are
go.
things that can work
I'm
out.
just gonna go with the Raiders. Interesting game here. Tennessee at the Chargers.
I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Tennessee is not playing well.
That is true.
Tennessee is not playing well, and the Chargers are pushing forward. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. They're at home. Tennessee is just defensively, they just aren't doing it, man. So I'm sure eventually Vrabel will figure something out, but at least they're comfortable in their skin to know that they got the division, control of the division for one more week. So yes, I'll go with the Chargers in this one.
I want to go Tennessee, but you make a good point. I'm probably gonna go with the Chargers this game.
Tennessee is not playing well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if there is a game that they could just bust out, it would be this one. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Vrabel is really on these guys to play better.
Yeah. Next game, the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
See, this is the kind of game where Tom Brady will just be like, oh. You know, I love me some Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati, man. Mm. Okay. I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. I just as much as I hate it, I hate going against the GOAT, but
Yeah, it's not impressive.
that offensive line is horrible. I mean, that offensive line is not playing well at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati. You know, the Tampa Bay, they're just not playing good. Cincinnati, they're on a roll. We could potentially be seeing another blowout here. Maybe.
I don't think Tampa Bay is gonna get blown out at home.
Really?
Okay. I can't fathom them getting blown out at home. You know, but you know, I can't, but again, I can see, you know, 35, 24, you know, something like that. 35, 28, you know, 35, 27. You know, I can see something like that. I can see a game in which Cincinnati beats Tampa Bay, similar to how Kansas City beat the Broncos, although you don't see it with the score. But yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Sunday night game, the two teams that tied a few weeks back, the Giants at the Commanders.
I think Barkley's injury really worries me because you can definitely tell by the way they played him They are concerned about his injury as well too. So if Barkley's not 100%, Giants do not win this game. So where are they at?
In Washington.
They're in Washington. I'm gonna go with the Commanders because I just don't think Saquon Barkley is 100%.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think this time Washington gets them. You know, they almost had him at home.
Yeah,
Or in New York.
right.
But I think with the home field advantage, I think they'll get him this week.
And just like I said, but I just don't think Barkley's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Monday night game, it is what is it? Oh, is Argentina up on France 1-0? Oh shoot.
Really?
Um, the Rams go to Green Bay on Monday night. I have to
As
go.
much as the Rams already helped us out,
Yeah.
you know, and but I can't Baker Mayfield, I'm sorry. I'm not sipping it. I'm not that's one bandwagon I'm not jumping on. I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Yeah, I have to go with the Packers. I think right now they have the better defense. I don't know if Aaron Donald's going to play this game.
Yeah.
And then plus it's also a warm weather team going to a cold place on a night game.
And you got Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, that's it for our week recap and our predictions for this week. Again, we'll be back next week doing the same thing. But if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on the games from last week and the games for this week, as well as hit the subscribe button. It came from 15 Talk Sports if you want to get more sports content on the channel. Again, we'll be back this week discussing Chicago Bears game recap in its entirety, giving our thoughts on how the Bears will more than likely lose to the Eagles. So, yeah. But other than that,
Bad.
yeah. Catch you guys next video. Till then, guys, stay safe and have a great rest of your day. Peace.